Hi, I'm Christina. I'm Maggie and Sawyer's mom. We knew pretty early on that we wanted to have kids, and since we were together for such a while before we got married, I was ready pretty quickly. So after our first anniversary, we were like, it's time to start a family. Maggie loves dancing, has been dancing. She started walking at 9 months and she started dancing shortly after that. She lights up the room wherever she goes. In fact, recently the principal at her school told me that she is going to be the mayor of the school. And in kindergarten that's a tall order, but she's apparently well on her way. Sawyer has just recently come into his personality, and he is a fighter. He was born 7 weeks early. He was 4 pounds. He had to work hard for everything. We just recently were looking at their doctor charts, and Maggie's had like 2 medications ever, and he's got like a 2-page long list. He's found his voice recently. Maggie, around 23 months, started daycare, and we knew around that time that she was kind of low on words. Compared to the other kids her age, there was very little communication. I mean, she would figure out ways to guide you to what she wanted or show you what she wanted, but the words just weren't really there. Right around the same time she started her daycare, she was given a free speech assessment, and she failed that speech assessment, which wasn't a surprise. I asked her pediatrician, what should we do at her 2-year well check? They give you the kind of parent self-assessments, and I said, 2's young, you don't really need to necessarily pursue anything yet. And I said, well, if I wanted to, what would I do? And they said, just Google it. That wasn't an answer I was willing to accept. Mama bears kind of will do what they need to do. I started talking to colleagues, coworkers, just started talking to people, and they said, well, have you ever heard of BabyNet? And I had not. And initially I thought, okay, well, I probably wouldn't qualify for that. Matt and I both have full-time jobs. Yes, daycare is crazy expensive, and so can be the cost of living in Charleston, but we are doing okay. Found out that it was a resource available to all children in South Carolina, which I was a little frustrated that I hadn't been given that opportunity or that information from the pediatrician's office when I had first sought it out. Then I got a phone call from the state office. That was a little hard. That was the hardest part, doing the assessment. I assumed that they would come and do an assessment of Maggie, and I had to do just a phone call assessment. But after that part, it was so easy once I got matched with Patteson's, and then with Lindsay, our early interventionist. Clicked very quickly. And I was aware of Patteson's because of my role at the Citadel, and we had sent cadets to volunteer at Patteson's before. So when I saw that on the list, I was like, easy, that's where I would want to go through as a first choice. I loved the fact that the speech therapist could come to Maggie during the daycare schedule, so that it didn't mean that I had to get out of work to take her to appointments. She was already there, they could come to her, so that made such a huge difference. And then also it was very easy to reach out to Lindsay if I needed help or had questions. And a parent can refer their child, whether you have the support of your provider or not, if you think that they could benefit. Worst case scenario is they assess you or your child and then say no, which, like I said, at one point or another, I thought, okay, nope, there's no way that they're gonna feel it. Like, daughter that walked at 9 months and was walking up the stairs at 10 months was gonna need any help. But it turns out that while she had great motor skills, her speech was at a delay, and the teachers couldn't understand what she was saying or what she wanted. And it was the opposite with my son, who doesn't look like he'll have any speech issues, but he needed some help figuring out how to move his body around. And even now that he's running, he's running hard and falling harder. And so we've been trying to figure out, what's going on, that he is Crash Bandicoot and running into everything. I can be a bit of a mama bear, so if I have to do something to make sure that my kids are gonna get what they need and improve, I think we should do everything that we can. And so it's made a big difference for us. I think